I'm Joe Caruso. I had been an entrepreneur in my earlier career, and for the last 15 years or so, been mentoring entrepreneurs, serving on boards, and investing in early stage companies. So tell us a little bit about, you said you're a serial entrepreneur.
Sure.
Just briefly about the company, because we want to get to the current company,
Yep.
and then maybe your experiences related to financing, whether you bootstrapped it or credit carded it or robbed a bank.
A little bit of all three, actually.
Okay.
I've been an entrepreneur basically since I was a kid, more or less. Graduated and went to grad school, and then tried to figure out what I was going to do. Moved to New York City and started a company. It was right around the initial .com bubble. And sold that company for all stock, which everyone was doing in that day. And then what everyone else was also doing in that day, all those companies were exploding and going out of business. And so the company I sold it to imploded, and I was on the street trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Took a job.
So a lesson there, when there's cash on the table, grab it.
Yes.
And even if there's $2 behind the door, take the buck. Is that? Would you advise them?
That's a great
Yeah.
lesson.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So started a company called Hurry Date, which was are you familiar with speed dating?
Yes.
So what we did was to throw my own party. Had 50 men and 50 women in a bar, and
Sounds a lot better to me.
yeah.
Sorry.
Well, for me, I was 27 and single at the time, and to have 50 women looking at me when I was talking on a microphone, that never happened before. I mean, 3 women usually never looked at me, so this is really, really impressive. So we threw one event. I made $2,000, and again, I was in my 20s and had no money, and lived in New York City, which meant I had negative money. And to have $2,000 was one of the greatest things that had happened to me. So we took the $2,000 and reinvested it, and threw another party, and more or less repeated that cycle to get to the financing. We basically bootstrapped the business. We more or less repeated that cycle until we're doing at our peak 150 events a month in 45 cities in the U.S., the U.K., and in Canada. So the company became Hurry Date, and we started that. And then we kept bootstrapping it. We took a little money from an angel investor who put in $50,000 and a $50,000 note, and that was it. And kept growing the business, and eventually we branched off into online dating. And so we had the offline dating events, and we had the online dating. We would meld the two together, so people would come to the events, and then we would feed them to the online dating, and people would come to the online dating, we'd feed them into the events, and I'll get into details of why that was really beneficial as we go. Built the business, and then we wound up selling the company to a company called Spark Networks, which owns JDate and Christian Mingle. Ironically, the largest JDate is a Jewish dating site, so the largest Jewish dating website and the largest Christian dating site happen to be on the same platform. Yeah, so it's actually a very smart model. And I spent about 3 years at JDate after that, at Spark Networks, working with the JDate team. They were in Los Angeles. We stayed in New York. And my business partner Adele, who I started Hurry Date with, she wound up staying a little bit longer, almost 6 years or so. I started a clothing company after that. I spent about 3 years or so working on that business, and we actually shut that business down about a year ago.
How did you fund? Did you bootstrap that too? Are you basically a genetically bootstrapped guy?
I am genetically a bootstrap guy. We took a little money. We raised just from some angels about $250,000. The problem we had with that business, it was a challenging business. We were in a business, basically we sold custom clothing through a direct sales force. So we had more or less Avon lady type salespeople that would go out and sell and custom fit. So the business had a number of challenges. And financing was one of them. And so one of my very good friends, a guy named Raj, who lives in Bangkok, I was with him in Bangkok. It was around 2008 or so. My wife and I were over there, and he owned a men's clothing factory. And around the same time, I was going back and forth just periodically between New York and Los Angeles because after we sold the company to Spark Networks was based in Los Angeles, and walked into a store in Los Angeles that was selling these really great dress shirts, and I put one on, and I came back to New York. This is a true story. I walked into the Starbucks that I go to every day for 6 years in my office, and the woman that was making my coffee, she said, Kenny, did you lose weight? And I said, no. And she's like, well, are you working out? And I was like, no. And I realized that it was this shirt, and for the first time in my life, I had a proper fitted shirt, and so that's basically got me intrigued in men's shirts. We started shirts, and so I called my friend Raj. I was like, hey, you want to start doing this? And so next thing you know, we're making shirts. And that's how I got into business. It was really, so.
You're going to hate me for this, but these two examples, you know how everyone says how you need a well-thought-through business plan?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm making fun a little bit, but you'd be
my whole life is
shocked
how
many businesses just kind of evolve. And you kind of follow your nose and end up doing stuff. So, not that having a plan is not useful. It's a useful exercise, but don't put a lot of time and resources in it. It's more, I don't know, view it as a little bit like a roadmap. It was a Yogi Bear who said, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So you at least want to know where you're going, recognizing that 5 minutes into the trip, you're probably going to go somewhere different. But at least you know when you pull out of the driveway whether you're turning right or left. And then when you go down the street a little bit, it'll change. And
I think
that's sort of the lesson. I mean, even the dating server, when you first started it, you probably never dreamed of doing anything online. You probably didn't think of doing it all across the country. You were just going to do an event, make a couple of grand. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. And while that sounds kind of humorous and sounds accidental, that is what happens to most companies. You basically have this little opportunity detector, in your forehead, and just make sure you follow it.
Is there a conundrum when you're trying to get funding, though? So if you don't have this plan that looks really well thought out, and you're making all these forecasts that may not come true in 5 years, but if you don't have that,
not may not come true, absolutely will not.
Yeah.
No, see, I have never seen a business plan.
So how do you
that has
get
been
funding?
executed.
Because you bootstrapped it, you didn't have to prove to somebody at every step that this makes sense and this is good. But if you're still in that exploratory phase and you want to, try different things and experiment, but then you need some funding to get through those experiments. So ours is healthcare, and healthcare is expensive. Like getting pilots done, going to clinics, collecting data. But we're not sure.
So some of this is what level of detail and effort you put into it. To come out with, 58 column spreadsheets that go to 3 decimal places and all that I would say is a waste of time. But to have some idea of your vision, the order of magnitude of things, how many hospitals are there, or how many patients are there with this particular disease, how much is spent on this treatment regimen, or I don't know whether you're in IT or whatever it is, to show that the vision you have is at least aiming at a target and opportunity that is significant enough, and you've thought through how you can get a meaningful piece of it. And even the most analytical VCs, they're going to want to know that, and then they're going to look at the team and say, okay, does this team have the skill set to undertake that ambition? So in Ken's case, my guess is that for certainly, maybe neither of the business, although the dating one, if you did that in 99, you might have been able to raise money. But doing it when you did it, I don't think anyone would have given them money to do either of the businesses. Although there was a while when the custom clothing was a little bit hot, but they would have done it for fad reasons in both cases, not because of the legitimacy of the business. And I'm not saying it was not legitimate, but the only reason they would have done either of those businesses is because they were hot at the time. But a guy with a friend running a party one night is not a business plan. On the other hand, made good money at that, right? Temporarily.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's right. And I'm just a scrappy entrepreneur as it is, and partially because it's my nature, but partially because of what Joe said. I didn't really have the opportunity to raise money, and I think I was young, and I'm in my first business, and no matter what happened, it was going to succeed, and that's just the way I look at these businesses, and so it wasn't like someone was writing me a check for a lot of money. Now, at some point, someone did offer us a check for $1 million for a VC, and we wound up not doing it because the terms of the deal put us in a position where we had to hit it so far out of the park to be successful that it just didn't really make sense, and then we were able to then exit the company for a much smaller amount because we owned the whole company than we would have had to do it, and it was basically not possible. So so it's not. So when it comes down to raising money, it's not like we had people knocking on our door to give us money back then, and so it was a challenging time, and so we had to figure it out no matter what. So
So do you have another business now?
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So I'll back into this whole thing. So Hurry Date, which was an online speed dating company, we started it with I started it with a longtime friend. Her name was Adele. Adele and I. We knew each other since we were 15 years old. We're from Florida. We used to go scuba diving on these scuba diving trips together. We wound up going to the same college, and then wound up living a block away from each other in New York City. And so Adele and I actually started Hurry Date. She was my partner in Hurry Date. And so when we were transferring from just doing events and moving into online dating, we had all these competitors on the wall. We were doing all kinds of research. And Adele found a website where women post guys up that they think would be a great guy for someone else, just not for them. So in Adele's situation, that's what I was. We were platonic friends since we were 15 years old. She was very cool, very attractive. I'd like to think that I'm somewhat cool, somewhat attractive. But the reality was that's our relationship. We're friends. And so Adele created a profile for me. And she put this picture up of me with the pumpkin and this really geeky picture. And she wrote all these things about me that I would never have written about myself. And when I asked her to take it down, she said, "No, don't change it." She said, I'm not changing a thing. Trust me." So it was up there for a little while. And a woman named Jess posted one of her guy friends on the website and started scrolling through the website and saw this profile that Adele created for me. And she emailed Adele to ask about me. Anyway, the moment that Adele got Jessica's email, she forwarded it to me with the subject, "Holy shit, it's your wife." True story. And so Adele and Jessica emailed back and forth a few times, and Jess is asking about me, and Adele telling her. And then Adele introduced us, and we met 2 weeks later at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in front of the Plaza Hotel in New York. Walked over to Central Park Zoo, and 20 minutes later we knew we were getting married. And we're married today, and we have 3 kids. And so, we met at 2 o'clock in the afternoon so that we both could bail at 4. If it was a Saturday, we would stay together till midnight that night. So long story short, we tell people this story, and most of the times we tell guys and men, and they're like, "Wow, it's really cool." And we tell women, and women are like, "Oh my God, that's the most amazing thing!" And so the site that we met on got acquired and then went out of business, or then it was shut down. I don't know why. I have some thoughts as to why, but I don't know if they're right. So people are always asking about this. So long story short was we fast forward to today, and we started a website that's called Jess Meet Ken. And it's a website where women post guys up that they think would be a great guy for someone else. And that's what we're doing now. And we're using
only girls putting up guys? You don't
only
have
girls.
Guys putting up girls?
No, the model doesn't necessarily work as well that way because there's actually women.
Guys don't share.
They don't share. That's right. They don't care, right? Yeah. So, like,
if she's good, I want her for myself.
I want her for myself, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to like. Guys just don't put the energy to it. Women love it, right?
Yeah.
So some of our women are posting 5, 6 guys up there, and because women love doing this. So the idea, we launched this in a beta in early February. And we only released half of the functionality and pushed it out and just really quietly, and it just like caught. And so it's been like 7 weeks or so now, and we've got thousands of
Can
people.
you send me a link? I have a 40-year-old
Yeah.
female friend who I would love to No.
Yes.
She.
Hey.
No.
I
She's a
Make
single.
the pitch now. We'll send the podcast around.
No, really. Shoot me if you do. No, but do that. I would love.
I'll send
to,
you. I have your email address.
Okay. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, and just ship $30 a month because that'd be really great. So, well, if a woman posts a guy, it's free. So she could post a guy, and then she can use the site, the premium features for free.
I actually know a guy she can post to. I recommended to her. She said, "Oh, he's my best friend." I can't, which I had.
Yeah.
So I did a good job matching, but I hadn't realized that they
She's
were.
on the way to HBS. Lots.
Well, my wife went to HBS. I've got all her friends on it. So yeah.
This woman is 40 though, so.
Yeah.
How would you monetize the website?
So what we do is we
By the
have.
way, is that led on? Oh, she won't know.
We have a set of features if you want to view the profiles and post people and do whatever you want. It's all free, but if you want to actually communicate and connect with people, that's behind our paywall, and you pay a subscription fee for that. Again, if you post a guy, that's free. So our model is all designed to get women to post guys, which they do, or they are now at least, and then we've got really cool functionality and Facebook stuff tied into it that wasn't available, years before, and we're having fun. It's a business the difference is there's a few differences between this and Hurry Date. The biggest is we're building it. Well, one of the similarities is that we're building it similar step by step. But I guess the difference is that we have a little bit more of a plan in our mind because we know what this industry does and how the industry. We've been in the business for like 10 years, so we know it a little more. So there's some things that we can foresee because we know we've been in online dating, but then we are taking it step by step to a degree.
Foresee, you mean you're looking at exit to sell the website?
No, I mean foresee like in product. Whereas with Hurry Date, we just threw events and we're like we have no idea where this is going. This business, we have a little bit more of a vision about how to build it out because we just know a little bit more about what people already want in online dating because we've done it before. So we're being a little bit more aggressive there, but at the same time, we're learning. Like we've learned.
Are you in the interest of keeping it?
Oh yeah.
You're bootstrapping this.
So right now we've been bootstrapping it. So we've financed it all ourselves. There's three of us. So it's me and Adele, who introduced Jess and I, was my partner in my last business. It's her, and then we have a third partner that is our CTO, who is long history at top companies. He was one of the founding engineers of MySpace, and he's all these. He's got a lot of good history there. And so all the work is we don't have to pay anyone for that stuff. So we're doing all of our development, and we've got some freelancers doing UI and stuff. And then any other money to test marketing strategies and do things like that, I'm funding it or we're working through it. We may take money. People, we've talked to people about that. And it's something we're considering. But I'm of the school of thought. I only like to take investment when there's a step and the money helps us get up that next step. And there's a lot of people just take money to have money and figure it out. And I just never have felt comfortable doing that.
You mentioned that we get 50,000 for a note. Like if you were to take money now, would you do equity right away, or would you take a different form?
I'd probably do some type of a convertible note or something. I don't know. It depends on that's probably what I would like to do. Because for me it's simple. I like to keep things simple. It's not that's probably why that's what I would do. I don't know. So, yeah.
So let's talk just a little bit about your business, not to get deeply into it, but see what you have for financial questions or issues. While I admire Ken for having bootstrapped it now for the third time, it doesn't mean that bootstrapping is better than raising money. It's different. But it is a good message because there are too many entrepreneurs, I think, okay, I'm going to start a company. I've got to write a business plan and raise money. And the raising money is not the goal. You need to have a reason for the money. You had said something about take it to a step and then know to take it to the next step. The ideal time, in my mind, to get people to invest isn't just to convince them of your idea and give money to go do it. It's to do enough that you have some evidence that if you spent money doing this, that good things would happen. So they're doing it with a little more conviction and a little less of a Hail Mary pass that's just a bet that that's going to work. And now, there's some businesses you can't do. If you're going to start a semiconductor company, you can't. You need $2 billion to put up a factory, and you've got to go do it. So remember the earlier comment, the goal is not to raise money.
Yeah.
The goal is, what do I want to accomplish with the money? And the time to raise money is when you need money to accomplish what it is you're seeking to accomplish. But the more you can accomplish before you get the money, the easier it'll be. Do you have any thoughts
I
or
think that's
comments?
right on.
Yeah.
I mean, someone asked me the other day about, we're talking about bootstrapping, and they asked me if I had any tips, and I said, well, not really, but I would just one of the things I did say was, every time you have an obstacle that looks like it requires funding, just step back and say, how do I accomplish that without funding? And you'll come up with 5 ideas, and 4 of them may be terrible, but that one idea will get you there. And in my business, in online dating, the thing I need is people, right? And so, if I was lazy, I could go out and raise $500,000 and buy people, or I could just create some awesome partnerships. And because I really do, there's 2 schools of thought, and I've always subscribed to the latter of what I'm going to say. But the first is, go raise money before you do anything, because once you do something, you're going to disprove your theory and you're hosed, right? And then there's a school of thought of go out there and get something, and then say, okay, I have something, and I need money now to make something of it, to scale it or grow it. And so the former, go out and raise money so you can go prove your theory, and I just never feel comfortable with that. Like, I just can't. I have a hard time, and I wish I could do this because it'd make my life so much easier. Like, just sit down in front of an investor and say, hey, listen, can you write me a check because I have this idea, and then it doesn't work, and then everything gets uncomfortable, and now you get a big chunk of your company, and you've got to deal with this, and you have, there's all these things you have to deal with. So for me, it's always just do as much as you can,
Two factors that I would say contribute to which way you think about this is how compelling is the idea on the surface. If you have a patented cure for cancer and you each won the Nobel Prize last year, you know what? Go raise money, because I think you probably just have people throwing money at you. And not that you don't have a good idea, but I think the only people who would provide funding at this stage are people that know the business well enough to understand, my God, this is a real painful area. People need this. I get it. Here's 50 grand. But if you have to convince an ignorant outsider, not a stupid outsider, but an ignorant outsider, the time it'll take you to convince that person that there's a business, if you can't convince 20 customers in that same amount of mental effort, then you don't have a business, right? And the people at the clinic should get it like that. And if they don't, then you're not giving them what they need. So there's a yin and yang to the raise money versus prove things ahead of time. It's like him running his first party, right? Yeah, he had to write a little check to go do it, but then once it worked, I assume the second one, you already had the money from the first one to do the second.
Yeah,
and it became a self.
That's exactly what we did. Yeah, I mean, one event became 2 events, became 4 events, became 6 events, and
So I have a question, actually, about while you're bootstrapping. Do you pull together a board of advisors or board to help you identify some of these issues that can also help you?
Yeah. So I don't have an official board, but I have 20 to 40. No, I probably have 25, 30 close friends of our business that I go to just for everything, and I have an email list. If you guys are on it, and I think you are.
I think I'm on it. Yeah.
So don't feel like you're not that important, but it's like 400 people, but 400 very special people. No, but I have an email update list that I send out updates every once in a while to literally like 400 people that actually, I know it sounds silly, but they're all people that like somehow I value, opinion, and they add value. I update them what I'm doing, and I solicit like, hey, listen, here's something we need help with this month. So that's the way I do it. I'm sure that once we get down the road and maybe things become a little more formal, I'll maybe formalize it, put some advisors together to help out with certain things right here.
Have you done that with any of the other businesses, putting advisors together?
No, not really. I haven't. Just
So do you
not
form
that-
a legal
yeah.
entity like the other businesses?
form another entity and then
Like,
make that
was it
like,
an LLC, S corp, C corp, the previous businesses?
to be just the advisory board?
No,
I'm sorry.
Some if it's an S corp or
Yeah.
C corp, they need an advisory board or a board of directors.
Oh, a board of directors. Okay, so our first company was an LLC. Second was a C corp. We had a board of directors. So yeah, but those were not. I wouldn't call them advisors. It was that people had they'd all had a fiscal interest in our business, and so they were investors. That was part of that deal. But yeah, so and then now we have an LLC. I do LLCs. I happen to like LLCs. It's like I can do them. Like, I don't know how you feel, but I can do them like with the back of my hand, and it's just easy. And I just feel like I don't have all these taxes that come with the C corp. That's just the way I've done it. Yeah, to answer your question. Yeah, I think advisors are great, and I don't personally, I think that there becomes a point when you want to get an official board of advisors more for the advisor's benefit than yours, so you can give them maybe a little equity so they can have a vested interest to really actually contribute to, but I'm a big fan of just advisors everywhere, and people just talking to people and like getting information, and then so much information that you really don't know what to think, and it's your job to figure it out. That's the way I kind of like to do it. And it took me a long time to get there. It took me like time to kind of understand that I didn't when I was younger, didn't know all the answers. I'm thinking I knew all the answers to now understanding I don't know any of the answers, and I have to figure everything out and take all that input in to figure that out. So yeah, I don't know if I helped answer your question.
So,
And a great opportunity for
yep.
strategic partnerships that we talked about earlier. Find out whose life will be improved by this.
I love partnerships. Seriously, love them. Like I think that it's just such an underutilized.
Partnerships with
Just to grow business. There's if you look at companies as people. I mean, everyone is doing something, and like everyone. What's that?
Which it legally is.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
For better or worse.
Right. But if you look at it like that, right? Everyone has something to offer, and everyone needs something, and you just have to figure all that out and make things kind of create these synergistic relationships. Like, I think that's really important.
All right. Good. Anything?
Thank you
Nothing
so
else?
much for your time.
Okay. No, it was fun.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.